And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services as the DMA and then 16 conference finishes up here in Los Angeles at the Convention Center. Good gathering of data marketers and those in what we used to call the direct marketing business. The DMA announced its rebranding. That will be known going forth as the Data and Marketing Association. So a little bit different. They will be celebrating their 100th anniversary next year. This very long-standing organization, very historical, back to the days of the early catalog programs run by the likes of Sears Roebuck and LL Bean, and now an international data marketing and management organization. So a busy final day, and started with entertainer Tyler Oakley talking about how he has used digital media to really build a presence for his programs and projects. And he said, when you're trying to figure out what content to do what you feel is fun, and an audience will find you. And I certainly agree with that in some of the work that we do, that it's important just to do what you think appeals to you. And then we had a little chance on the same program to hear Bo Averill from Google talk about, again, what is, how should content be generated? But he said content is king. It's all about creating great content. And again, audiences will find that. So again, that's where it's at today for creating content that viewers will find of interest. And then we had a chance to sit in on an announcement from the DMA about its very ambitious Data Standards 2.0 program. The DMA has had a self-regulation program for many years, and they update it based on new technology, new challenges, new capabilities. And we heard a little bit from Sheila Kolkashur, who is the Global Executive Public Policy at Acxiom. And she spoke to the general session then at our meeting. And also we heard in that session from the DMA's General Counsel, Senny Boone, and Chris Oswald, Emmett O'Keefe, and the DMA VP of Public Relations, Lindsay Hunter, who really talked about standards, that this is all about standards, good practices for using data, and also what the DMA feels should be prohibited and not conducted. And we talked a little bit about those who operate outside the realm of the trade organizations, bad actors are sometimes called, and also people who just don't know, what is proper practice and what is going too far. And that's a big effort the DMA is going to be making, is to educate what is proper practice and what is prohibited practice. Heard a little bit from an interesting gentleman named Jeremy Kroll of K2 Intelligence. Really talked about some of the issues and challenges on data marketing, the breaches that have been occurring, and some of the threats from what he calls the dark net. And he talked about hackers seeking access and data, and 80% of breaches from human error. So many threats to data security can be prevented by training employees and training staff and being careful. But he said the threats are coming. I kind of thought the threats might be just from some offshore, and he said no, it's really coming from the big players in Russia, China, and Iran. And he also mentioned Brazil as a source, and Spain of some of these different hacker groups, and more will be happening on that. Then we got into had a nice session with gentleman Brian Seiss from Twitter, who talked about the value of retargeting, that when someone goes to a app or website to go back to them with more offers, but be very product specific about what the customer inquired, and to show them different things, things that even could be ancillary. Then we had what we were looking forward to today, the Hot Zone competition, the battleground started out with 56 competitors. And this is all run by our friend David Cole. And it was whittled down to 15 companies invited here to Los Angeles. They all had booths. We talked to several of them this week, and then the final 6 got a chance to go up on the stage, 360 stage, and talk about their company, their accomplishments, and why they would be a good investment to join. And it's a very impressive presentation. Some of the companies: Rapify, Circulate, Stanza, Faraday, Rockerbox, and Nplug all did their presentations. A lot of things about data analytics and also data presentation, like Stanza does with events onto smartphones, and Nplug, which is software for populating displays. And they've got a very impressive lineup of displays that they are working with. So they get to split. They didn't announce a winner. The 6 companies are going to split $2.5 million in benefits, prizes, and opportunities. So it's very valuable exposure for them, and really a neat part of the event right down in the exhibit hall. And then we got to hear from Kobe Bryant, the Los Angeles Lakers legend. So many championships that he's been part of, and he's now announced over the summer what amounts to a $100 million venture fund under the banner of Kobe Inc. And so he's looking at companies, and he kind of talked about how he analyzes them, and he likes to talk to people. He likes to hear what their story is, what their journey is, and he had a couple of nice things to say. Number one, stay away from things you don't understand. So he fully wants to understand what his company will invest in. And then he talked about something that would apply to almost every organization. Championships are won by blending people from different backgrounds. And it's certainly well taken by the audience of corporate people and all sorts of different size companies. And so that was the conclusion to the event. Mel Robbins was the host of many of the sessions. And next year, the DMA will be celebrating its 100th anniversary. And that's quite an accomplishment, an organization built in the World War I era that has gone through so many different transitions in terms of practices, but we still see so many fundamentals from day one: analytics, measuring results, calculating return on investment. So many of those principles work the same way they did in the early days of the catalog business to today in doing programmatic advertising. Just the method of communication has changed. So our hats off to all the folks here at the DMA and the conference executive, our friend Paul McDonough, and Lindsay Hunter, a big help to us here as well, and all the folks in the DMA office, Neil O'Keefe, and so many others. So anyway, so we'll conclude. This is a wrap-up from the DMA 16 and then conference. And so for CBSI Services, this is Ken Kraetzer.